Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Break Spotlight on the Lakerholics weekend. I am Jamie Sweet, and with me this morning is Michael Heinrich and Laker Tom. Laker Tom, as always, bedazzled, decked out in sunglasses and all black with his Diet Coke ready to rock and roll. Michael
Navy
H.
blue. Navy blue.
All right. Well, my eyes are
blue.
Our pictures aren't showing on my end. I don't know about you.
I can see everybody.
Oh, I can't see anybody.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Okay,
There we
now
go.
I see.
There we are. All right. Despite the epic shit show that is planet Earth in the United States of America right now, the Lakers are doing great. And I'm going to take a second. Gerald doesn't like it when we get into politics, but I don't fucking care. I'm standing with President Zelensky. Fuck Donald Trump, and this shit is bananas. Now that we got that out of the way, it's just too much. It's just too much. You can't. At some point, sitting on the sidelines is no longer an option, and I'm quickly approaching that point. So I might get myself kicked off the program. That's fine. I'll take that hit. I don't have a problem with that. I'd rather stand for something than be a dithering bystander. I cannot be a dithering bystander. Anyway, Luka Doncic looks great as a Laker. Let's talk about that. And you know what? I want to say another thing from the heart. I was wrong about JJ Redick. I'm not too big of an egoist, or I was 100% wrong about JJ Redick. Every question I've had, every challenge I've seen him come up against, he has done a good job in figuring out a way to overcome it. Transition defense, not a huge issue anymore. So JJ Redick, if you ever watched anything I ever said, and if you ever watch this, which you probably won't, and that's probably for the best, because who needs this in their life? Obviously, I mean, if you're not us, we obviously need it in our lives, but Coach Redick needed it in his, most likely not. And he's a true Los Angelese. Los Angelino. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. He lost his house in the Palisades fire. He's dealt with 405 traffic. He's come up from he's had to drive from Malibu to downtown. You're from LA now, buddy. You're one of us. You're one of us. If you deal with that enough, you become of Los Angeles. So welcome to Los Angeles, Coach Redick. I was wrong about you, and I'm not too big to admit it. So thanks for overcoming all of my doubts. I appreciate it, because he's done a wonderful job. And I think that what I'd like to get to today is obviously how well the Lakers are playing, how great this 5-game winning streak we've looked, the injuries to Hachimura and Reeves, and what we're going to do with Goodwin and Trey, because these are all these things have to be resolved. Some of these things have to be resolved by the end of the day. So let's start with.
They should be, but the Lakers want to give guys a chance to.
I could see them passing. I could see them keeping Trey Jameson just on a 2-way, because that would let him finish out the season as a Laker. Yeah. He wouldn't be available for the playoffs. I don't see him being necessary in the playoffs.
Well, Goodwin
is absolutely vital to our bench. Our bench is so much better because of Jordan Goodwin right now. It's not even funny. Man. That guy's balling.
He's got the homies, man. He's not afraid of the moment at all.
No, and I was watching the ESPN broadcast last night, and they made a great observation that he plays a lot bigger than his 6'4" size. Yeah. He plays like a 6'8", 6'10" guy. And he mixes it up in the paint, and he gets in there for rebounds and is active around the glass when the shot goes up.
Both he and Gabe are guys who play like 6'5".
Yeah, I agree.
Like, we don't have anybody on the court ever who's under 6'5", really, or can't guard a guy who's 6'5".
Yeah, what's Reeves? 6'6"? Yeah, Reeves is like 6'6", right?
6'5".
6'5", 6'6".
The thing that was most impressive about that bench unit is this was the first time this year that our bench won the game.
Yeah.
I agree.
There wasn't a starter with a positive plus minus.
No.
LeBron had a -1. He was close.
He had a -1, but that's just because the rest of the starting 5 dragged him down. And like I think some of that is like, and I know there's been a big push, and I kind of disagree with this push. There's been a big push to switch Dorian Finney-Smith with Rui Hachimura. That's going to happen while Rui's out. But I think you still go back. There's something about that starting 5 that really works. They really have the ability to punch you in the mouth coming out of the gate. I understand that DFS is maybe a slight upgrade, and we're really just quibbling about style at this point in defense. Yeah. I think Dorian Finney-Smith is a better perimeter defender. I think Rui is actually a better post defender than Dorian Finney-Smith. And so it really is picking your poison about what you would prefer to see out there.
Rui's played a lot better defensively in the last.
And he's been lights out from three, which you need in that starting five, especially as Luka still finds his shot, which we'll talk about.
I'm not changing the starting lineup at this point in time, and frankly, I don't think there's. I don't other than perhaps trading the $11 million contract we've got. I don't even want to trade any of the guys we got.
Yeah,
we just need to bolster up the center, get another point of attack defender. And we may have it. We may have him with Goodwin. The kid has been terrific.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where
this defense is for real. All of these people who say it is BS and that the Lakers can't sustain it are going to eat their flowers, man.
I think so.
Another thing about Rui too that was interesting to me was when I learned that he was not going to play. Mm-hmm. I thought, okay, what's this going to do to our small ball defense? Because he's an integral part of our small ball defense. JJ didn't even bother with the small ball defense. We had a center on the court all 48 minutes, was either Jackson Hayes or Trey.
Yep.
And Trey, man, I love that guy, man.
Me too.
He just is he's a banger and a
punch that we needed. He's the punch we needed in the roster.
He's Mongo Slade from the as you guys will know from the Lakerholics website. Mongo Slade often likes to talk about if the player has that quote unquote dog in him, and he spells it DAWG. And I think Trey Jameson checks every the dog in him box that you would want as a basketball fan, because he keeps it. He seems to be just on the verge of explosively out of control, but he's just because he plays with a tremendous amount of passion.
Right.
And that's what I see. Other people may disagree. That's fine. I see it as a guy who's out there playing his heart out, playing his best basketball that probably that he's ever played. He's getting a great opportunity and he's making the most of it. And we just kind of got to root for
filling a need that we really have. He's filling.
Say that again.
He's filling a toughness need that we
definitely
have.
Yes. He and Hayes are kind of an interesting juxtaposition.
Too many white boys on this team, man. It's time to get really rough and tumble.
Well, and this is, again, it's funny how you hear things at the beginning of the season. And I'm a big fan of downplaying everything you hear during media day and the lead up to the season and during preseason. It's just all these nice, wonderful, flowery words that everybody says every single year, like, oh, it's championship or bust.
Everybody's undefeated.
Or we're going to be a defense first team, and and then we see what happens when the games start, and we're like, okay, now this is what reality is.
Yeah, the Wizards say the same thing every year.
That's right, Michael. The Wizards came into the season saying that we got championship goals. Not really. We were going to trade the farm, and we might have even almost brought Bradley Beal back for nothing. But we didn't. We managed to stave off that disaster. And that's the slow-moving Phoenix Suns train wreck is just a spectacular disaster to watch unfold. There is no Gerald here. I don't know who you're talking to, Ox 1947. Welcome to the show, Joe Soro. Hope you're doing well this morning. I love Trey's energy, and I love that he's got some interesting pocket post moves. They're not necessarily efficient, but they're there, and you could see that there's a people were like, oh, Christian Koloko, I forget the other guy who we got.
Len.
Thank you, Len, right. Those guys to me are now afterthoughts. It's Jameson is the second man up off the bench at the center position, and he's been playing, I think, really, really well. Again, I don't see much of a role for him in the playoffs, especially this season. I think that, I don't no, I guess that's true.
I think you want him, Jamie. I think you want him because injuries happen.
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, but we have zero roster spots, so you have to waive guys at this point. So
and we can.
Who are we going to waive? Len?
Morris, Cam.
Shake.
Cam's gone.
Cam,
Shake, Cam, and Len. Three guys you can get rid of. Right?
Shake, we got to keep Shake.
Got to keep Shake.
Not because we need him, but because he has a non-guaranteed $2.5 million contract that will come in handy in a trade in the summer.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think you keep Shake. I think, obviously we'll talk about the summer later. I don't want to get into the summer. There's some players that I just see there's some contracts that we just absolutely have to figure out how to move. That's a summer problem. The other guy, I always forget his name because he hasn't played yet. The other guy who came over in the Luka trade, that guy's got
Morris.
Yeah,
Morris.
no. Not Kleber. Kleber. Yeah,
Well,
I agree with
you're not going to. Kleber's got a contract next year, so he's got $11 million next year.
But that's what I mean. It's 11, and he's a bad player. He is not worth $11 million in my opinion.
No, but he might be a stretch 5 for the playoffs, and then we trade him.
That's a stretch opinion right there. That's a stretch opinion.
Well, no, if you run into a team or a situation where basically teams are packing the paint for you, and you need a big who can shoot, he can shoot. We've shown that we don't need a big that can shoot to win. I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. I think that the Lakers are playing in a style. This is what's funny, right? Like, I hear what you're saying. There is a world where their best lineup that they're closing with is 5 guys who can shoot threes.
Sure, and they're opening games and getting out.
Mouth.
They're opening.
False that we don't need a 5. We don't need a 5 who can shoot.
Okay, that's an opinion.
Said that from day one, and you're wrong from day one.
That's not their prototype, though. They're not looking for a big that can shoot.
Yeah, they're not. That's not coming right now. We're not getting
the
big.
Looking for a big who can defend. It's more important at this point in time.
And I would even argue that Kleber can't shoot. He's a 34, 33% 3-point shooter for his career.
35.
So
he's decent.
And he's like 6'10". He's not a center. Anyway, we don't need to worry about him. He's probably not going to play this season.
There's a big question of whether we need a center. Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, we need a center.
Jackson Hayes doesn't fit our profile as a center, but he fits Luka's pretty good.
This is
terrifically.
This is the thing. You can live in this NBA with, I think, 2 centers that aren't shooters if you have a small ball center like LeBron or a small ball center like Dorian Finney-Smith, because then your center.
Finney-Smith doesn't ever play center, Jamie.
The ones that are shooting. That's how
Rui plays center.
Sure, Rui and LeBron. Then they both can hit the 3. Is the point? They're both 38+% 3-point shooters this season.
We've got 3 small ball center wings, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And because of Luka now, LeBron can play defense, and he's probably going to make all defensive this year.
No, I don't know if that's a bit of a stretch.
Well,
I'm not so sure, man.
It's too late.
He might make second team all defense. He might make
second team all defense. I think that's probably what they'd give him.
Maybe. There's a lot of guys.
I mean, you don't want to take away a first team all defense from somebody.
There's a lot of guys who are. The thing is that some of these guys who probably are more deserving than him may not get to the game's threshold. Suggs.
A lot of guys ain't going to make 65 this year.
That's what I'm saying. So if they LeBron may be the beneficiary of other people's injuries. Yes. Yeah. Anyway,
he should be.
He's 40.
Christ, he's 40 years old. Look what he's doing, man. It's unprecedented.
I know. It's redefining.
I would love to see. You know what's really terrific? Listen, everybody knows how old I am. Okay, I'm really old. Okay, and one of the things that is most wonderful about my life right at this moment has been JJ Redick and Luka Doncic. Can you imagine? I mean, I try not to let sports, politics, technology, and bad drivers get in the way of being a happy person, but they do. You try. No matter what you do, you try. But this has just been a life-changing situation for me, thinking about the next 10 years of my life, which will probably be the last 10 years of my life. Now they're going to be filled with a lot of Laker joy. And before I was thinking, it's D'Angelo Russell and Darvin Ham, man. I mean, talk about a life-changing situation. And I'm sure there are a lot of Laker fans out there who have been following a team for a long time, who are older like I am, and all of a sudden it's like reincarnation, man. Bring it on.
Yeah, man, I won't disagree with that. All right, so we're all high on Trey. We're all high on Jordan Goodwin. I think that BTS Dan Studio somehow doesn't know exactly how old you are, but thinks you look great for your age. He's 7,409 years old. That's how old he is. I don't know what that is in real life. It's probably like
it's funny. My car just got old too.
It's probably like 200 plus years old right there.
No, I have a new Porsche, and a new Porsche just went over 100,000 miles.
Wow. Well, yeah. That means you're driving a lot for the Bay Area. Well, I know you're going back and forth to the Central Valley a lot for reasons that may or may not exist still. I don't remember where that left off. Anyway, so I think that if you have to waive somebody, I would probably not waive.
They won't have a chance to sign on with another club and make the playoffs unless you waive them before the end of the day.
I mean, that's what's kind of a bummer about if you have to waive Alex Len, who in my opinion is the most waivable player, but I think they end up keeping him just in case, as you guys are saying, injuries. He's the best guy to come in behind. He's the best. Then he becomes the second best backup center on the team.
Well, our biggest vulnerability is Jackson sprains an ankle again. My God,
that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Out for 4 weeks, we're dead.
If Hayes goes down, then Len becomes a good stopgap. So, I have a hard time seeing.
I don't know about that adjective. I
have a hard time seeing them waive Morris because he's kind of like he's now in the Jared Dudley phase of his career. Where he's
just a little bit of a Jared. He was here with the championship, man.
This is what I'm saying. He's got a little Jared Dudley in him. He knows what that role. He knows what that role's all about.
He can shoot, and he can still 5 hard fouls, 6 hard fouls, man. And he knows how to deliver a hard foul.
Yeah, you can send him in and say, take that guy out.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg. Sweep it.
Yeah, the WWE.
Anyway, and he's been there before, so he's a good guy for people like Reeves, Goodwin, the younger guys. He's been through it. He won a chance.
That we waived Wood in order to get Len.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I feel like I think Cam is the most likely to be waived.
Yeah, I
don't think we waive a guy to keep Trey Jameson on the playoff roster. I do hope we waive.
I
Cam.
I think we do. See, I think you're wrong there. I think we do.
All right, I will find out very soon. What do you think the floor and the ceiling for the Lakers is this year? I think the floor is a second round exit and the ceiling is a winning title. Yeah, I think that's probably about right, Robert. I think it's hard if things were to stay as they were today, we would be the 4th seed, so we'd actually have home court advantage for the first time, and I don't remember how long since the bubble, when we had the best record in the Western Conference, which didn't matter because it all happened in Orlando. So home court, it was the most worthless home court advantage that ever existed in any playoff format of ever. It mattered absolutely zero because everybody was in the same place. There was no traveling. There was no home crowd. I guess you had your home digital screens up on the wall eventually, and everybody being like, "Oh, are you frozen or are you just doing a mime routine?" I think a second round exit at this point would be a tremendous disappointment. And obviously, I think the ceiling is a title. I think this team has the parts to do it. I think what I want to see is obviously health from Reeves and
incredible health.
Yeah, health is critical, but also can Luka get himself back into?
I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all.
We're 2 weeks in, and that shot is still MIA. That shot is still MIA. What's funny though?
He didn't play. He didn't play.
That doesn't even come into the worry meter with me at all. The worry meter is Jackson Hayes spraining an ankle, or LeBron pulling a hamstring, or Luka pulling a calf muscle.
Yeah. That's any day. That's all the time though. You always just go into every game going win and get out healthy, and then everything else falls after that. Like,
isn't it great though that we don't have Anthony Davis on the floor? I mean, that totally changed our transition defense.
It changed a lot because the Lakers became a lot more fluid. We aren't a standstill team in the half court like we were up until that point. And that's not all AD's fault. That's not all AD's fault.
But the thing is, I just did a study of the stats from all of February, which was post Luka trade, versus the stats for starting on January 15th, which is when we really started to make a run, and we were 21-4 for that period of time.
Yep.
And it's really interesting because what's fascinating is you look at the defensive rating. We were number 1 defense both times, and we were in both situations. We had a 116 offensive rating, a 107 defensive rating, and 9 or plus 9 or plus 9.3 net rating for those 2 periods. In other words, what JJ Redick accomplished was he made the transition from Anthony Davis and Max Christie to Luka Doncic, and the Lakers didn't even miss a beat except for that 2-game blip.
Yep.
Other than that, they were 21-2.
Yeah. Part of that though isn't. Part of it is because we had just gotten Finney Smith.
Yep.
Vando came back.
Vando came back.
And those two things were huge.
Gabe coming back and shooting like lights
out.
Once
Gabe has been back the whole season, but he was not on the floor consistently, and his jump shot had been MIA. And that came into once 2025 hit.
There were games when he was looking to shoot from 30, and he was hitting them.
Yeah, no, Vincent has whatever process he had to go through to get his lower body right. I feel like he's come through it, and we are now seeing the benefits of that. It's everything.
Really, Miami game.
Really got dramatically
yes,
better.
We've got Miami. You're right, Michael. We'd have Miami game right now. All right. So listen, we're all excited about the team, as you can see. I mean, normally we're not this giddy about anything around here, especially me. I'm the most somber, real person.
That you don't even know who you are at this point.
I don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't know what country I'm living in. I don't know what.
I don't know before the game.
I'm not sure what. Not sure what flag I'll see hanging from the post office here eventually. I don't know what's going on anymore. It might be an Amazon flag eventually for all I know. We'll all worship our corporate overlords and have a wonderful time doing that, I'm sure. What I want to move on to is the Luka LeBron connection. One of the things that's been wonderful I think that there are few players. It might be one other player. The other player might only be Jokic, maybe Shai Gilgeous, SGA. That's the end. The number of players that LeBron would say, you take the ball and you go, is Jokic, Doncic, maybe SGA. And it stops there. I don't think Anthony Edwards makes that list. I don't think Tatum or Brown makes that list. I can't think of another player. Steph is more of an off-ball threat anyway. He's not.
Yeah.
He's both. He can do both. He does whatever the moment calls for. Mainly make buckets. Mainly get shots and put them in the hole. But the list is very, very, very short. And Luka's on the list. And you saw it instantly. LeBron right away pivoted to this is his team. Whatever he needs, we're here to support him. And it reminded me of what Dwayne Wade did, but it took a long time. But it reminded me of in Miami, it took a lot longer. It took a whole season. It took a season of not making it, of not winning the NBA Finals. That it took them saying, like, this doesn't work this way. You have to be the best player, LeBron. And he was like, great, I am. That works for me. Let's go. But Luka, watching Luka, there's only one player he reminds me of, Magic Johnson. And it's just astounding to watch because Jokic isn't as mobile. Jokic is equally crafty, but is not as mobile. Luka starts at the half-court line, and he already, by the time he's like stepping up to the three-point line, he's pretty sure he knows what's going to happen, but he knows that by the time he gets to the paint, he's either going to be open, can bump somebody off and create a shot, or just find somebody open for a three, and then he's usually in position to try to get the rebound. And so it's this wonderful orchestrated series of movements that allows the team to just let him function and then crash the glass. And you're seeing that with Finney Smith. You're seeing it with Vando. You're seeing it with Hayes. You're seeing it with LeBron. You're seeing it with Reeves even, who is out, over 5 rebounds a game up until he got hurt. Really still isn't rebounding a lot, but there's enough other guys who are, I think everybody's rebounding numbers are up a little bit since AD went down, which is exactly what needed to happen, or not went down, but went away. That's what needed to happen. One guy wasn't going to replicate what Anthony Davis brings on the rebounding side or the defense.
So he spread his defense across 5 guys.
That's exactly right. His responsibilities were subdivided into I would even argue 6 or 7 guys.
And the synergy was greater.
But it's allowed everybody to be more involved. I feel like everybody on the team is like 5% more involved in every possession than they were when AD was on the team. And again, that's not necessarily a knock on AD because AD's game is give me the ball in the wing. I'm going to take about 7 seconds to 12 seconds off the clock with some jab steps and some moves that try to get me into either step back or to the rim. And I'm gonna do my thing. I thought that Luka would be a little bit more. I thought it would take longer for him to assert his dominance, and it took him like a game. It took him that loss, that Charlotte, and then everybody was like, "Bro, you got to do it." He was like, "Yeah, all right." And here we are. And the only thing that's missing is his efficiency. Everything else is there.
Shot is like really. Yeah, I tell you, some of
no, the efficiency isn't there yet, and I don't think he's. And I think if you were to ask him, he would probably say he's playing at about 65-70%.
Yeah,
maybe high 70s. But he's definitely, his legs aren't under his jump shot, which is why it's either long or short, because he's adjusting with his arms and his hands. And his you can see that his feet aren't, his legs aren't under him, especially like when he tries to like sometimes like recover on defense. You'll see his feet kind of get tangled up in themselves, and he goes down. He's already fallen as much as AD has, and I'm like, come on, man, stay on your feet.
His wind's not there yet either.
And his wind's not there yet. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you see him huffing and puffing.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But we're still winning.
But we're still winning. That's the beauty of it. They have this. We've created with LeBron.
The whole defensive thing is really true. You know,
it's also that LeBron is now saving everything he needs to.
Well, we got a great defender. All of a sudden, we got a great wing defender.
Well, and we've got a fourth quarter closer who's the best in the business because he can get it done, and he knows how to either do it with the pass or do it off with the basketball.
And if he's not hot, we also have LeBron James that can.
In general, we just have LeBron
and do it.
All right, Robert Wheeler wants to know, who do y'all think is the most underrated player on the Lakers? That for me would actually be either Jordan Goodwin or Jared Vanderbilt. Probably Jordan Goodwin just because he's a two-way.
Underrated player, huh?
Michael, what are your thoughts?
It depends on. I honestly don't think Vando's underrated. I mean, he gets a lot of love for what he does.
Not from the chat.
Well, not from the chat, but generally speaking,
you
know,
when you listen to people who know how the game of basketball, I agree.
Yeah. Jordan Goodwin is he underrated? I mean, everybody's
unknown, man, is a problem.
Well, not only that, everybody, the media has been raving about this guy. You know, I don't know.
Jackson Hayes.
No, Jackson's Jackson. I would still go with Rui.
Austin Reeves, man. It's Austin Reeves without
Austin Reeves.
Austin gets his flowers from everybody.
I've gone from thinking that Austin Reeves was overrated to now believing that Austin Reeves is underrated.
Yeah, here's another thing about Rui that
we're gonna find that out in the next week too.
He the last game when he went down, he only took a few shots, but he only hit he was 1 for 4, something like that. He had 4 or 5 boards early in the third quarter. He was a plus 20.
Yeah, I know.
Because he, he's like I said, he's integral to that small ball lineup that they run out there. So I still go with him. Yeah, I still go with him.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Rui's top. He's up there.
Jackson Hayes probably is.
Jackson Hayes, Rui, and Goodwin.
If you told us, if you think about it this way, if you think about what you expected from the guys at the start of the year, and what you've gotten from them now, it's hard to say that Jackson Hayes is not the most important player especially after he rescinded that trade.
Jackson Hayes is he is since the trade, he's a 3.5 better. Points better when he's on the floor than when he's on the bench.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
That block he made to end the first half was just sensational.
Oh, he's been much better. This is
better on defense, and still finishes like nobody else in the league, man.
I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I've been advocating for Hayes to have a bigger role since last season. I have not ever given up on Jackson Hayes. I've never thought of him as a garbage player. I've always thought that if he played to his strengths, and was in a system that allowed him to play to his strengths, that wasn't trying to make him be something that he wasn't. Because let's be honest, he's not a. But
nobody ever thought he was a starting center in the league.
Nobody. No, he was an afterthought in every scenario that has come. But what you're seeing is, and he's actually one of the keys that has allowed the Lakers to speed up the pace of play, even in the half court, because he is a gazelle. He is a fantastic athlete. And you just have to throw it within 2 feet of the basket, and he can go up and get it. I think forget who threw him a lob that was a little bit off, and he still was almost able to.
I've only seen him blow one dunk, and
that was, I think, off the bad pass.
Recently, he blew one, and I was so astonished that because he's blown one before.
You know what Jackson needs to do this off season? He needs to like Rui did. He needs to work out with LeBron.
Yes.
He needs to hire LeBron's nutritionist.
Yes.
He needs to put on 10 to 15 pounds.
Goddamn Lakers ought to hire about 12 chefs and send them out to all of the guys.
Yeah, I think he needs to go to the same developmental camp Zubats has gone to, because Zubats has turned into a 15-15 guy.
But Zubats has always had the big body.
No, but Zubats didn't always have those post moves that he has now.
No.
Those are things that he's worked a lot on.
That left-handed push shot he threw in there, man. That was a nice
but
move.
it's money. It's a money shot. And he and Harden have worked on their two-man game, and it shows.
Yeah,
and it's what's kept the Clippers afloat, quite honestly.
Zoo is right up there as one of the worst moves that Rob ever made.
Oh, it was magic technically, but yes,
that was one of the first moves that Rob made.
Was it really? Whoever did it was a moron.
Magic was gone.
Yeah, who do we get for him? Muscala? Anyway, that'll forever be a joke in my opinion, but it's unfortunate, and he's having a great career as a Clipper, and I couldn't be happier for him. And I love when he has a good game, but we still win, and that's exactly what happened last night. So.
Big centers. That's when you come down to it, what you're really talking about in the Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic move is the problem with Anthony always in giving him the bantam to take over, giving him the torch and passing him the torch, is that it's really hard when you're in a race to pass the torch to a big man. It's
almost impossible. It's almost impossible
to a guard or a wing in this NBA.
If you're not named Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid,
I don't even care if you're Nikola Jokic, because basically we shut Jokic down last time, because that's the problem when you're not the guy who's the ball.
Let's hold off on that one a little bit.
Well, it's only one guy though. How many other centers are you going to put in that category?
And it was only one game. Let's
something. Point
being that Anthony Davis said 6
I have a comment on that. I watched.
Hold on. Let me make my point, and then I'll turn over. Okay. Anthony Davis in 6 years was constantly offered the baton, and he never could grab it and take it away.
I would agree with that. Yes.
And yet LeBron willingly handed over the baton.
I think he would have willingly handed it over to AD.
He's a guy who takes the ball in his hands. He's LeBron 2.0. He's the guy you want to have the ball every time you can get him.
He might end up better. I don't know if he'll end up healthier, but he might end up better.
Yeah. I have a comment on the Jokic thing. I watched the Bucks and the Nuggets game, and what really struck me was, Lopez is a really quality good defender.
Oh, he's a top 5 defender easily.
But they rarely doubled the Joker.
Yeah.
And they left it up to Lopez, and the Joker torched them.
Yeah.
When they played us, he had 3 guys in his jersey every time he tried to even touch the ball. That's the way you played the Joker.
Yeah, I agree. What I loved about
big men, you can take away big men a lot easier than you can guards and wings.
Usually, Jokic, I think,
point guards with the ball, they're the hardest guys to take the ball away from.
Well, yeah, because they're so crafty. But the thing with Jokic, then I think that we'll see an adjustment to this. I think they'll start setting back screens again for him, like when the Lakers play him, and that might open up a different facet of his game. But one of the things that I really appreciated was how we defended him in that one game. Let's remember, it was one whole game. It was a wonderful game. It was a great game, but let's not put the cart before the horse. Even when the ball was nowhere near him, if he was trying to cross court, somebody would just stand in his way and bump him a little bit. And it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything, nobody was fouling him. It was just you have to hit me. I'm going to make you hit me. I'm going to make you uncomfortable. I'm going to make you annoyed. And now you're not happy.
Rui bumped him every time he took a step with his arms out.
Reeves was bumping him. Rui was
guys leaning on him in the key. And
that's right. And if you get called for a foul, the coach is going to be like, great. Now we know where the line is. Now we know where the line. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of fouls you like to see. So anyway,
that's what JJ's done. He's gotten everybody to buy into the little details that you need to do to win.
I would agree with that. And he is providing, I think, the details in a clearer format than probably Ham ever was able to do.
Also, I think we have to give credit to the assistant coaches too, because
Scotty Brooks is
Scotty
Brooks is the head coach.
The way these guys are playing at both ends of the court, and especially defensively, is just.
And
I'm going to give McMillan a lot of the credit.
I was going to say McMillan and Brooks are head coaches. They should be.
Yeah, McMillan was considered a defensive genius, a guru, so to speak, on the defensive end. And I think we're seeing a little bit of Nate in this defense.
I think we're seeing a lot of all of them. I think we're seeing a lot of the personalities, and I think that like the attention to detail stems from Redick, and I think that the presentation. And he's made it a very what I've liked about JJ Redick and what I'm sure the players appreciate is it seems like he's done all of this and in consideration of everybody's personal time. I think some coaches get so in the weeds, and I probably think this is where Vogel and Darvin Ham failed in differing ways. I think Vogel was probably a little bit too, for lack of a better word, and let's be honest, like Frank Vogel got sabotaged by an injury-riddled season and somehow got fired for that. And so who knows what would have happened had we stuck with Frank Vogel. But Darvin Ham, I think, was just too much of a buddy. He wanted to be everybody's buddy. And he would, I think when you listen to his post games and his pre games and it was just like a lot of disconnected thinking. And you never get the sense that, like, even in the little snippets when they interview the coach at the end of a quarter or the beginning of a quarter, he's got like 3 very specific things that he's like, well, I didn't like our coverage on this play. They shook loose when we didn't call out our screen on this play. And then there's this other thing that's annoying me. And you're like, dude, this guy's already got like, he's got his clip, he's got his post-game notes ready to go, and he's going to put it in a detailed dossier, and everybody's going to be like, cool. And then you're not wasting anybody. And efficiency is, I think, something that's underrated in every aspect of sport. I feel like Redick is a very efficient coach, and that is something that goes unnoticed.
Well, with Redick, here's the biggest difference. With Vogel and Ham, their offense was, okay, LeBron, here's the ball. You and Davis beat us.
That's right.
With JJ, it's okay, guys. All 5 of you need to be doing this and this and this and this.
Yeah, I think that's true, Michael.
Yeah,
I think that's a really good observation. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm happy to apologize. I was wrong about Coach Redick. He's done a great job, and I want to give him a lot of credit for that. All right, we've got a tough stretch of games coming up. Rui Hachimura has been they're giving him at least a week. I don't think we have a word on Reeves. I'm assuming at least 1 week if it's a grade 1 calf sprain. Usually that means 2. They'll say 1 to 2 weeks. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was out for at least 2 weeks, depending on the severity of the calf strain. And we haven't, as so far as I know, gotten word of that.
Why do we have these plagues of certain types of injuries? It seems, I mean,
I think that's.
We had the doctor thing going on with 2 or 3 guys, and then we had the, Jesus, It's like
I know. I don't know.
Diseases,
I know. It's as if the injury was a contagious thing that you could pass from one player to another simply by giving.
Lucas calf injury has now gotten Reeves down.
I know. Well, yeah. And that knee strain was very troubling for Rui because like he went up.
That was a breakaway layup.
There was nobody near him. He just went up and was like, he went up, and as soon as he came down, you could tell he was not okay. And that I was like, oh, this could be really bad. And so when I heard it was just a tendiopathy, whatever.
Well, he gets hurt in the net, and there's a collision on the other side of the court between 2 valuable players.
Right.
Right. It would have decimated both teams.
Right. No, that was a heavy. The collision was far more egregious than really going up uncontested for the layup. But you were much more worried about Hachimura after the dust settled than you were anybody else. So obviously next man up. I'm assuming that Vincent and DFS will be starting for them for the foreseeable future. Which means more minutes for Dalton Connect, maybe a little more minutes for Jared Vanderbilt, probably more minutes for Jordan Goodwin. The Lakers have a pretty tough. Trey. Let's see what the schedule is coming up for the next week or so. I know we have a pretty tough. We have the Clippers. Yeah, I know. We have the Clippers again tomorrow. Well, then Tuesday we have the Pelicans. Then it gets real tough. Knicks at the Lakers. Lakers at the Celtics, Lakers at the Nets, Lakers at the Bucks. The Nets have been playing better than advertised. And then Lakers at the Nuggets to finish off the road trip. It's a little 5-game road trip coming up here. 6-game, right? No,
4.
5 games. No, 5. Knicks, Celtics, Nets, Bucks, Nuggets.
And then what's after that? What's after that?
Then Suns at home. That's on the 14th.
That's the game I'm going to.
Oh, against the Suns? Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna go. You want to go watch?
My grandson and I each bought tickets to that game, and
Gonna go watch a slow motion train wreck, huh?
Back in the night.
Nice. That's good. Where are your seats?
They were like $700, but they were.
Oh, so they're good seats.
They're pretty good seats, but they're
they're
a little bit in the corner, but they're
you'll be down in the bowl though. You'll be in the bowl. That's fun. That's
so
fun.
we've got a good. They look pretty good.
They might be right over the tunnel.
I'm looking forward. I haven't seen Staples in crypto.com in a long time, and I've got a lot of statues that have been added that I need to have.
I was going to say, go early and check out the Kobe.
We're taking an early morning flight, and we're going straight to.
Wait, so have you seen the Kareem statue?
No.
Okay, so you have a lot to catch up on. The Kareem statue is still probably my favorite.
I think last time I went was right after the chick statue was up there because I got.
Oh, then you have all the statues. You might not have even seen.
Well, I have the latest Kobe ones.
The latest Kobe one should be up by then.
Yeah,
it should be up by then. I think it comes out
now. I saw somebody had some photos of it.
Maybe it is up now.
Yeah, the one with Gigi.
Yeah, the one with Gigi, not the 81 point.
Even the other Kobe one wasn't up when I was last down there.
Yeah, the 81 point one I don't love. The Kobe Gigi one I love. And the Shaq one is just the most audacious thing anyone could conceive of. It's just him. It's him. He's in midair above everybody, dunking, breaking the backboard. It's amazing. It's like of course.
So anyway, we're really looking forward to that.
That's really fun. That sounds like a good time. Enjoy the game, and I hope they win.
Yeah. We decided we're going to do that annually now.
That's a good. Hey man, while Luca's here, you might as well watch greatness while you can.
Yep.
It's not every year you get a 26-year-old generational phenom on the team.
You might look into buying your ticket now for next year because it's going to be hard to get tickets next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on the game. If you in the secondary market, this is the thing. If you go to a lot of concerts, you'll realize that the entire process of buying tickets is one of the top 5 corporate scams on planet Earth.
Man.
It's just absurd. It's just absurd. And somehow it was all legalized by Congress and the Supreme Court. And I still don't quite understand how that made any sense for people who just want to go see concerts. Yeah. But for Ticketmaster, it's great. They make a lot of money off of us. So, that's good. Good for
you want our share of the scalpers.
It's
money. That's their whole
you could, if you wait, I mean, it's hard because you're not in town, but for myself, if I decide to go to a game, I can wait for a Charlotte game and I can find tickets for like $40. They might be up near the top of the stadium. But
see the thing that we did, and this is, I tell you, life is sometimes so sporadic because obviously, and the alternative is to go to watch the Warriors play, and so we had it all lined up, and the Warriors tickets are really expensive too.
Yeah,
but I had 2 tickets lined up and that were in the balcony mid court with a great view and everything, and they were $1,000 each.
Oof.
And I just had to type my email address in, and I mistyped my goddamn email address. Misspelled my email address, and by the time I got back, the seats were gone.
Oh no!
I couldn't believe it, man, because I had been watching, and they just had popped up a whole row of seats in the front row. Somebody had put them up for sale.
Wow!
It was so then we had to.
I've still not been to the Chase Center for anything, not for a concert, not for a basketball game. I would like to see the Chase Center. It looks like a pretty.
Well, let's come up next year. Come up sometime next year.
If I can, I will.
I'll text you when the Lakers are playing.
My sister's up there. She would love it she's been trying to get me to come up to her. Her boyfriend's looking to buy property, buy a house in the Oakland Hills or Berkeley area.
Let's do that. I'll include you in the text when my son and I are planning the next trip.
I'm in. Okay. All right. Robert Wheeler has another question for us. Do y'all think it's more likely the Lakers win at least 50 games or finish with the number 2 seed? I think the 2 seed is going to be tough. I can see us not.
They'll win 50, but they might not make. They might end up as a 3 seed.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be tough. The West. Let's not. I mean, the Lakers are playing great, and they have room to improve. That's the beautiful thing.
Well, Denver's playing well, but the Grizzlies are going to slide, I think.
I don't think the Grizzlies are going to slide. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think that is a team that is highly motivated to prove everybody wrong. And I'd never underestimate the ability of a motivated professional athlete. A motivated professional athlete is one of the most unstoppable forces on planet Earth. When they're unmotivated, it's a totally different story. And we saw an unmotivated LeBron James for the last 2-ish years during the regular season when he was just like.
How do you think LeBron James is going to finish the year?
I think he's going to finish the year pretty strong. I think that he is going to take to this like Kareem took to Magic when we drafted Magic. He's looking at this as a career extender for maybe 2-3 more years. And I think that he looks at that as like,
when is Bryce going to be in the eligible for the NBA?
That was exactly what I was going to say, Tom. I was going to say like he's now looking at this as like maybe I do play until
exactly what LeBron is thinking. Wow,
maybe I can play with both my sons.
I mean, that would be so sweet as a
We'll see. I don't know where Bryce is ranked in terms of his prospect.
They say he's better than Bronny.
And he won't. Hopefully, he doesn't have a heart attack the season before he and just tank his conditioning.
Well, but that was stupid of people to underestimate Bronny based upon
Morning Kurt
heart attack. I mean, that's crazy.
No, it's crazy, and it's crazy that he's still playing and all that jazz. But listen, I think that there's a lot of room for this Laker team to grow. I do think getting to guaranteeing a 2 spot, I think is rough. I think we're this little pack of 2 through 5. You could argue 2 through 6, although the 6 seed is starting to slide back a little bit. And 7 through 10, that's a whole different category for me now. The obviously the OKC Thunder are in a class of their own along with the Cavs. Those 2 teams are running away with their conference, with each conference, and there's no real question that Cavs
I think both will be. I'll tell you what. I'll predict right now that both will be underdogs in the finals of the conference.
They both would be underdogs in the finals, and I don't think that I'd have to.
Lakers will be favored over the Thunder.
We'll have to see how the brackets match up. Well, that's something that's going to be closer because once you get into the playoffs, it's all about matchups, and
I'm not worried about the matchups anymore. I don't think it matters. Get as high as you can, and that's it.
Yeah, get as high as you can. You just want home court, and I think that's.
I don't care if getting higher means we play the Denver Nuggets. No problem with me.
Well, I think all 4 of us will have home court advantage, and I think that means we won't see them until at least second or third round.
Home court advantage is probably more important than who you play, as far as I'm concerned.
Especially when it comes to Denver. If you have home court advantage against Denver, that means you're playing not in Denver a lot more, and that's the key there. That's the key there, and that's one of the things that people forget about is how much the altitude affects the play of the game in Denver, and they're used to it, and other teams generally aren't. Although we have that great win in Denver, and so we have the ability within us to do so. All right, as we close out the show today, I would like to say one more thing about Luka. I was reading an article. I've been reading a lot of articles, various places about how the trade went down, this, that, and the other thing. And what I'd like to say is I think one person who's not being given enough credit for all this is Jeannie Buss. I think that she's often used as a scapegoat when things are going wrong, and when things are going right, she's an afterthought. And that's, in my opinion, the hallmark of a pretty good owner. If you're not out in front of everybody taking all the credit like a Mark Cuban or somebody who's just
Gary
like
Jones.
That's right. Look at me. I'm the owner. Hey, I'm doing all the work here. Look at me. She's deferred a lot of the credit to Rob and his team. She's given a lot of props to the Dallas Mavericks and her negotiating team for keeping it all under wraps. And she's said, it was scary because we didn't go into the season wanting to trade either of Max Christie or AD. But when a trade like this comes along, you just have to do it. And she did the right thing in referencing her dad. She's like, I read this article she gave. I forget who she did it for. It might have been ESPN or the LA Times. I'll figure it out eventually. But she was talking about, when my dad was a great poker player, and he would tell me all the time, like, you play the cards, and when you get dealt a good hand, you got to play strong. You got to go all in, and you got to put.
You made her dad proud, and
she did a great. This is a defining moment. This and the bubble championship are 2 defining moments. She's the only owner in sport history, female owner in sports history. She's just been a part of what can only be considered the most incredible midseason train of all time. Maybe that's where it was. Thank you, Kurt. The Rich Eisen interview. and she was promoting her. She's got a show on Netflix that's like not about her, but based on her life, and it's funny. And I'm sure it's they get into the nepotism thing and all that. I hear, and it looks I'm glad that she's able to like look at her situation in life and find the humor, or find see what other people see and say like, yeah, they're not wrong. Like I was born into a fantastic situation. What do you want me to do? Not take advantage of it? Like you would do what I'm doing. So get off your high horse, planet Earth. Anyway, I just want to give Jeannie Buss some credit because she takes a lot of flack, some of it very deserved. Gerald has mentioned, and he is correct, about the PP loans that came out during COVID. That was ridiculous. The Lakers didn't need that money. It was better going to small businesses. And, you could argue that the coaching carousel and not having like a clear identity because of the way that she runs things with the cabal of people around her, that, a lot of voices in her ears. This was not like that. This was very streamlined and efficient and
do you extend that to Rob Pelinka?
I do. I give Rob a lot of credit for. I give from Jeannie down.
He made two franchise defining moves this season.
The trade of D'Lo for DFS was already enough for me to be like, Rob did a good job this year.
To get DFS and Rui for second round picks, that's pretty swift.
And so again, I think I guess what I'm getting around to, and then I'd like to hear both of your thoughts on this a little bit. What I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is that we are often quick to judge and slow to compliment. And so I'm trying to change that, not just about myself, but about the show. I was not quick to compliment JJ Redick. I'll be the first one to say it. I'm giving him a lot of compliments today. So there we go. See, we're doing a little thing. But also in terms of Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, and everybody really, none of these are perfect humans. Nobody's a perfect human. You're not going to do the right thing every time, or maybe you'll try to do the right thing and it didn't work out great, or whatever. And so it would be nice if we offered a little grace from time to time, is all I'm saying. Michael, your thoughts on Kurt? I always talk about how much credit should Jay Moore get? Putting that up there. 0. He should get 0 credit. If he's a husband,
did you understand that they live in a house where she lives on one floor and he has an apartment on the first floor and she has an apartment on the third floor?
That's how people live nowadays. Everybody needs their space. Anyway, I'd like to hear, Michael, we'll start with you, and then Tom, you can finish it up. Your thoughts on just this how the team is being run, a general vibe about the Lakers these days. We're all in a good place. I think we're feeling good. Your thoughts?
Oh, they made some great moves. The one thing that I appreciate about Rob, when Magic was in charge, everybody knew everything that the Lakers were thinking, we're going to do. And Rob has taken a page from Mitch's book where you never know anything that's happening behind the scenes. Every trade he's made in the last few years is out of the blue, and it's just like, I really like that about him. As far as Jeannie is concerned, I really am, I think she didn't stand in the way of this trade. I know that I think she was actually pretty close to AD, just a feeling I got.
I do too.
Probably hurt her to have to let him go, but she saw the bigger picture. And so that's, basically to her credit. But yeah, the moves that Rob has made over the last couple of years. I mean, yeah, Tom mentioned Rui for seconds, Finney Smith for seconds. Those guys are really, really, really good players. Then you look at, then our developmental part of our organization are cranking out quality players, that aren't drafted or, rejects. Goodwin, I think he had 100 games under his belt. Somewhere along the line, he's figured it out, and we recognize that. Those are winning things in an organization, that can't be overstated. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what we do this summer. I think we need to get a quality center rotation. I mean, it could be Jackson Hayes and another guy. Who knows? We don't need a star there anymore. Just
we don't need a superstar.
Yeah, we just actually Austin could be almost.
Two and a half superstars.
He's not far from being considered a star anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a superstar, but a star.
He's at least a half a superstar.
Yeah. So I think we're in a really good place, and we'll see what happens over the summer. We don't need a lot of work, which is. When's the last season we were going to go into where we didn't see a bunch of holes that had to be filled? We don't have a lot of holes that need to be filled this summer. So we're in a good spot, and I'm really happy about it.
Tom?
As I said earlier, I think that I will second your Genie Bus commendation. One of the things that's and for anybody who's ever done any coaching in basketball or run a club or something like that, obviously you act on a totally different set of principles than we do as fans. We're built to be impatient as fans, and it's the nature of it. But you have to, I think, respect and appreciate that sometimes reacting like a fan basically ends up without building anything long term. And one of the things that Lakers have done, I think, an excellent job of starting a couple of years ago when they stopped bringing in veterans to fill up holes on the roster. They started bringing in younger players, and they started making trades that were well done. And they mixed in a few mistakes that really undermined confidence in both Genie and in Rob Pelinka. The Russell Westbrook thing was a total disaster. And
not all their fault.
There were lots of other situations that you go through, but what you have to do, I look at it like there's two things that happened this year that are unchangeable, major seismic events in Lakerland, and that is the signing of JJ Redick as the head coach of the future, and the trade for Luka Doncic. Those two moves happening I don't care what you did as an executive of another team. If you end up winning a championship and we don't, I don't see how anybody can say that Rob Pelinka does not deserve to be executive of the year for those two moves only. And I think he'll add a championship on top of that.
He has a shot at it this season, Tom. He has a shot at it this season. I think that's a great observation. I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest. I hadn't thought about who would win executive of the year, and I have a hard time believing it won't be Rob Pelinka. I can't think of another.
Well, those are two moves that are.
I'm just trying to think of anything
defining moves.
Yeah, and then throw in Finney Smith.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if you take the totality of everything he did this season, in terms of like managing the team through the injuries at the beginning, being able to
trading Reeves
keeping the cap space that was D'Angelo Russell for a player that fit 5 times better than D'Lo would ever. And that's not a knock against D'Angelo Russell. It's just
it's just a question of fit.
It's just a question. Exactly. It's just a question of fit. And the Lakers needed a Dorian Finney-Smith so much more than they needed a D'Angelo Russell. And I think it's honestly, it's been kind of good for both teams. I haven't looked at D'Lo's stats recently, but I'm sure he's playing well on Brooklyn when he plays. And, I think that they're playing better post the trade than I think anybody would have given them credit for. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Let's not be crazy, but I think that they're playing improved brand of basketball. As I was saying when I started this topic, it's just we're as a group of people, sport fans are very quick to judge, and it's understandable. You're living vicariously. You don't have an actual stake in anything. You're just
some of us have a clock ticking in the background too.
Well, that's we all got clocks ticking. I could get hit by a metro, or whatever, or an asteroid. I could get hit by an asteroid or something. It's what's up, Gustavo? All I'm saying is that I want to also be quick to compliment. It's not bad being quick to judge. That's one of the benefits of being a fan. You have no true stake in the matter. You're just an arbitrary judger off to the side.
Speech.
That's right, and that's your right. That's the beauty of a sports fan. Everybody does it. It's not unique to Laker fans. That's being a sports fan. But we also have to be willing to admit when we're wrong. Pride should not play a factor in your sports fandom. Be afraid. Do not be afraid of saying, you know what? I was wrong about that. My opinion was underinformed or overly pessimistic or what have you. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up right there. We got a game tomorrow, another game against the Clippers. This will be a home game, or I'm sorry, this is an away game for the Lakers, all the way 45.
No, it's home. It's a home.
It's back-to-back homes.
It's
Yeah,
back-to-back homes. They're not playing it into it. Okay, so they must play it into it one more time down the stretch.
Yeah. Well,
no, this is the last one.
No, this is the last one.
This is the last game.
We're
2-1 against them. They beat us last week 1-2.
I must have missed a game somewhere in there. Then I must not be. My brain must not be functioning correctly yet. I need more coffee.
Well, they beat us in the first game.
Yeah, I remember we lost the first one at the Intuit Dome, and then I thought that we won this. I guess that's what I'm not remembering the one we won there. I guess that's what's going on. Anyway,
that was the last one right after the trade, or right around the trade.
It was right around the trade, wasn't it? Maybe that's why I'm a little bit like.
It was at home. It was at home. It was at Staples.
I was in a fog of,
and we stopped them.
But hey, let's Lakers win tomorrow. I hope so. I think that we're going to see a little bit more organized and cohesive an effort. I thought that you could tell that Ty Lue was getting pissed in that first half with the defense, and I think that'll tighten up a little bit. And you won't see some of these guys shoot over like they were in the first quarter, but conversely, I don't think you'll see another game like that from Kendrick Nunn. So, it all might wash out and hopefully we win.
It's going to be an interesting game strategically because it's JJ Redick versus Tyrone Lee.
It's going to be hard to win.
It's going to be hard to beat somebody.
How they adjust and who wins.
I was going to say, without Rui, without Reeves, it's going to be a tough slog, but we'll see. I think that we got enough stuff. And honestly, all it really would take is for Luka to find that jump shot, man. And then I think it's a little bit over for a lot of teams.
Really, if Luka can find his jump shot again and start scoring regularly, all of these games where we hold these 10-point leads and hold on to them and struggle to hold the 10-point leads, those are all going to be 30-point blowouts.
Well, it'll be 15, 20, but yes, I hear you. They're going to be comfortable. They should be comfortable wins.
Right.
They should be comfortable wins. We'll see. We haven't seen that yet, and here's hoping it's sooner than later. I'd like to thank Michael and Tom for coming on the show. I agree, Kurt. We talked about that earlier. Luka, I'm giving him another 2 weeks of working his way into game shape. I'm excited to see what he looks like come middle of March, moving towards April. I mean, granted, that's like right down to the wire for the season, but that's how it's going to be this season. And then hopefully he has a wonderful summer of training and is looking like a new man next season. But let's
you should work out with LeBron also.
I would love it if he did. I would love it if he just said,
that would be great summer news, wouldn't it?
Oh my God, it would be the best summer news.
Hey, Lucas moving to LA in the summer, and he's going to spend the entire.
Oh, he moved. He's got a place in LA. Well, no, I don't know if they bought a house yet, but he's living in the hotel. He's living in the hotel that Kobe used to land his helicopter on before games. It's across the street from the arena. It's like around the corner from the arena. It's very close. So he's not commuting. He hasn't experienced LA traffic yet. Space Jam 3 with Luka. I don't know. Luka doesn't have that. The one thing where Luka and Magic depart from one another is he doesn't have that, at least that I've seen yet. He doesn't have that same level of charisma. Like he had that interview the other day and he just seemed really tired. It was just like, yeah, I'm just glad it's done. Like he might have also been riding some emotions after that Mavs game. At any rate, I couldn't be happier that he's a Laker. I look forward to the game tomorrow. Everybody stay safe. These times that we live in are unique and ridiculous. Let's not succumb to the absurdity of it all, and let's fight for what we know we deserve. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.
Aloha.
Go Lakers.
That's right, baby.